Hello.
Good morning,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello.
It is Saturday.
All day.
Once again, all
All
day.
day.
All day, once a week. Not all day every day, but all day, once a week.
We have about that much brand new snow, and it's the type of snow you can make snow women out of. Because
Ooh.
it's, what is it today, Greg?
Well, March 8th was International Women's Day. So we're celebrating that all week.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Chris and Joanna.
International Women's Day. And we actually have some things to go along with that, too.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Joe. Hey, Chris.
And it's my mom and Chris. Yes. Hello. Hello. Anybody else here watching?
It would have been better if you just said mommy. That's my mommy.
Mommy.
Why do you say
Jennifer!
that?
People are coming in. We're lagging. Remember, we lag, so we like to just not do anything for a few minutes so that everybody
That's
has
right.
a chance to get in and
Mhm.
get caught up to us because, you know, Sarah and Greg and I live in the future.
That's right. Sarah's wearing warm clothes.
Well,
And I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt.
We had a cold front come through. So it's
Oh.
going to be in the 20. I know. So sad. Cold Florida.
Yes, it's all relative.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny, Greg. That was such
Yeah.
a double entendre. It's so
What?
relative.
Oh. Of course, on a genealogy show.
I gotta pay you more if you're gonna come up with good stuff like that. Wait, Sarah's the one who writes the checks.
Double my current rate of pay.
Guess what?
What's that?
We have a great question of the week.
Do we?
And I'm gonna talk about that right now. But to start things off, this is the question of the week. Now, I completely disagree with the way this question is written because ethnicity doesn't really mean what people think it means these days. It's really origins. It's about where your DNA mutated as your folks traveled out of Africa to where they are now. But to start this out, we're going to go to a Facebook post that let's see, Johanna Gamilero Callis. Oh yeah, Joe posted this. So this is a snowman who is looking at his ancestry results. Pond water, puddle water, 5% oak or carrot, 3% coal, and 14% toilet water. Now, the toilet water, I'm assuming that's from puppies and stuff. And then Deborah Justice said, and an unknown amount of pollutants. So, Joe, that was a perfect start to our discussion on this. The second thing I wanted to talk about really quickly is I had some interesting stuff happen on Mitochondrial Dna this week that is connected to this, and I wanted to show that because some WikiTreeers asked me to explain it today. So I am. So if I go to my dad's Mitochondrial Dna kit page that shows all of his information about his kit, I can pull up this right here, this Explorer, and it takes me straight over to the SNP tracker, and it gives me his place in the tree of humanity. Now, Rob Spencer, this is from Scaled Innovation, and this is one of the integrations that we have with Mitochondrial Dna. But this is a really cool and very simple way to look at the tree. If you go back here, and the proverbial atom is the first piece of DNA that we have that dates back to about 240,000 years ago. And then every time that group of people for that specific person, every time a mutation happened, that mutation ends up in this list. And that's what these little boxes are here, showing how the mutations happened from the very first person and how they changed and progressed down to these people. And this happens to be the RM269 haplogroup, which is what my dad's very high level haplogroup is. And so from Mitochondrial Dna straight over to Scaled Innovations, it automatically filled in my dad's information. But above that, you can see where my dad is. Now, my dad is going to end up, when I get his big Y test, he's going to end up somewhere down here. But in correlation with what we're doing today, talking about those origins estimates, you notice these little weird boxes. They look like war medals that somebody might wear on their uniform. It's actually showing what the user reported earliest known ancestor origin is for their family. So over here to the right, you see Ireland, England, Scotland, United States, Germany, United Kingdom, France. And then there are also surnames. If somebody lists a surname over at FTDNA, this information gets filled in with this as well. So you can see that RM269 has a bit of Ireland. You can see that there's a bit of England, a bit of, what is that color? Blue, that's Scotland. A little bit of the United States, a little bit of, who's that? A little bit of Germany, Deutschland, a little bit of something there. I don't even know what that one is. And then a yellow, and we don't even see what, or no, that's just clear. So we don't know what that one is. So that's pretty interesting. So you can actually look at the origins estimates for your haplogroup, and it gets broken down even further. There's a really cool one down here. Look at these. These are all Irish. How about that? If you get a big Y test and you come over to Mitochondrial DNA, you upload your stuff and you go over to scaled innovation, you can see exactly where you're from. All of these people look like they have very English origins. So it's pretty fascinating. So if that helps you explain it, that's good. Here's my, for my mitochondrial DNA haplogroup, you can see the same thing where it starts back at the reference sequence and then follows the line, which would be like the proverbial Eve, and then follows the line out in these breadcrumbs out to H1B1, and then to my particular subclade of that. And then the subclades that come after me. My subclade, I'm actually mutating right now. I wouldn't match my mother's DNA because I have a heteroplasmy, which means I'm in the middle of mutating. Yay, I'm a mutant.
Wow.
Mag, wow.
Yeah, so
it's
cool. I would end up being one of these 4 or 5, unless I come up with a new one and they would have to add that in. But it would be my kids that would show up with the new one. So I'm not going to ever see that because my kids are not my biological kids. Thank you very much, Brian. I'll send you the money I promised you later. Okay, so that's
everybody's
all fun.
getting money but me this live cast. You're paying Greg, you're gonna send Brian money.
Yeah. So what are your DNA estimates? What are your DNA estimates? I'm going to start with the Facebook group.
I was pulling up mine.
We'll look at a couple of these. And Brian, we'll go ahead and do Brian. How about that? I love listening to Brian. Let me turn my volume way up here. And big screen this. And here you go, Brian.
I'm Brian Nash from How We Got Here Genealogy. WikiTree, you ask a question, I'll answer it. This week's question of the week is, what are your DNA ethnicity estimates? Well, according to Ancestry, I'm 42% Irish. And I'm 58% Scotch. Bottoms up.
And now he's going to be 100% drunk.
Yeah, you're now 100% drunk, Brian.
That's funny.
Oh,
That's hilarious.
Fun. Oh,
Can you imagine like somebody with like really mixed, they have to put some tequila with some like Irish whiskey?
Yeah.
Like...
That was good, Brian. Love your answers to the question. Jody has an answer. Let's see here. She is England, Northeast Europe 31, Norway 20, Wales 13, Sweden, Scotland, Ireland, France. Somebody is actually writing an answer. Who are you? Who is it?
Who is someone? Who is someone?
I don't know who's someone. Someone. We'll wait. We'll wait for them to fill us in. We'll go to the G2G. And remember to always upvote your answers. Oh, yeah, and I had this. If you look at the way the word ethnicity is used these days, it really isn't about ethnicity. It's all about origins. And when you tested the different testing companies, it's going to change over time. So here are my living DNA. And living DNA, since I am Northwest European origins, living DNA really has the best DNA estimate for me for origins. But you notice it changes from time to time. So this was the way it was in 2019. And in 2020, I've got Svalbard and I've got Iceland over here. And I've got a lot more Irish going on. So the difference there. If you look at my origins at Ancestry in 2019, I'm Ireland, Scotland. They had lumped that together at 34%, but I was 66% England, Wales. And then it tells me my stuff today. And now I'm like 34% Scottish. And it's interesting. So it changes over time. Here's my origins from Family Tree DNA. You see, I've got a little bit over here, a little bit there, and a lot here. And they give just the British Isles 92%. And then that's changed a little bit. It's gotten a little bit more precise from 2019 to 2020. And this pin person, this is just somebody I match up in Yorkshire, England. And then it's showing Norway. So when you're looking at this stuff, keep in mind that the origins information for you is different from site to site because there's a different amount of data that people are pulling. So if more people in the US test at living DNA, I'm being facetious, and you're going to have more US people match you at living DNA. If more people test Jewish DNA at MyHeritage or at FTDNA, you're going to see more Jewish connections at those sites. So put your DNA in all of the sites and you'll have a good idea. And there's your DNA portal. They don't quite have the beautiful little diagrams that everybody else does, but it gives you great information. Okay, so back to, there we go. Back to the question of the week at G2G. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's 93 answers. Always remember to go through and upvote those questions too. Somebody actually created a nice little, I would say this is an interesting, look at this. They even added the, and this is from GEDmatch. They're interesting that they have Basque. Because
my mom has some Basque.
Well, it's Iberian Peninsula, so and also there's some research showing that the Basques may have been the original settlers of Ireland 8,000 to 9,000 years ago, and that population disappeared, and then the new population moved in. So it's interesting. Let's see, Janine, she took an Ancestry DNA test. Her original results, and she's showing us that there's a big difference. 42% Scottish, England, Northwest Europe 32, Germanic 9, Norway 8, Ireland 7, Sweden and Denmark 2. Let's see, and then MyHeritage says 73% English, Greek and Italian. That didn't even show up in the Ancestry test. Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and then a 23andMe test. Gives her the mitochondrial. When you take a 23andMe test, it does give you a very high level haplogroup designation. There's not enough markers in there to give you a true mitochondrial DNA information, but it's enough to guess or estimate your mitochondrial and your Y DNA information. So Ashkenazi, Jewish, and other peoples. That's interesting. Let's see. Alexis is Scottish. She's Northwest European, almost all the way until we get down here to Germanic and Baltic. Interesting. See, origins from Samantha Thompson. So Northwest European. Are we getting a glimpse of the membership of WikiTree? All these Northwest European. Here's another one, Rosemary Jones.
Interesting.
Let's see. Middle Eastern. Oh, she actually broke down, Miranda actually broke down the different companies. So you can see the difference. 77% England and Northwest Europe for Ancestry. MyHeritage, it's only 52%. And down at Family Tree DNA, it's 96%. So you see, it's like shifting sands. You have to be
Mhm.
careful where you stand. Then Nancy Thomas gives us her 23andMe. Look, Indigenous American, 12.1%. That's pretty cool. And how I wish I knew how all that Indigenous American came to me. That's really cool, Nancy. I can tell you, Nancy, that you would probably be well served to go back and look at the migration patterns of your family. And as you check those migration patterns, you're going to end up in an area where your family probably interacted with the indigenous community. So that would be fun to do, Nancy.
Mhm.
Dina Grotsev, Southern European, Greek Balkan, Scandinavian, European, fun. Got another Doug McCallum. Of course, Doug's going to give us a pretty chart. Mine are all overlap depending on where the tests were done. And so what he's done is he's taken them and figured out what the combination is here. But basically, British Isles. Oh, Ivory Coast and Ghana. That's fun.
Ooh.
Oh, look, he's got more. Doug, gotta love your charts.
Oh my.
Goes on forever. How fun, Doug. Go over and check these out. Make sure you upvote some of these. I haven't seen any snowmen on here, Joe.
No.
Joe, did you post your actual? Sarah, do you have yours? Greg, do you guys have your origins?
I
I
might
did
be
not-
are you
muted.
muted?
Sorry.
I did not post it.
Mine was, I have mine. I was just looking at mine. I was also looking at my mom's, and I think my mom's has changed since I last looked at it. Because she also,
Yes.
like I said, she has Basque and she also has Cyprus on
Oh,
there.
cool.
Ooh.
2%
Interesting.
Cyprus, which is pretty cool, and 1% Indigenous Americas, Panama and Costa Rica.
You know, that makes sense. Do you know why?
Hmm.
Because of your South American connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's another thing. I have a lot of Indigenous people who contact me through the Wabano Center here in Ottawa. It's the Indigenous Health Center, and they have my card, apparently. And so I have a lot of Indigenous people contact me. And it's interesting when they say, well, I got my DNA results back, and it says that I'm from Brazil. And I'm like, oh, yay, that's great. And they're like, why is that great? And I'm like, because that's one of the original migration patterns. When people flowed into the Americas originally, they went down the west coast of what is now the United States and straight down into South America. So yeah, if you show Brazilian or South American indigenous population, that's a good thing. And that is because there aren't a lot of people in the United States who are indigenous who have tested. Same thing with Canada. And if those populations were to test, then the indigenous information would be more focused. There you go. Tommy
Right.
Buck. Tommy Buck is human.
Ooh,
You guys
that's good.
realize he's human. His says he's human. Autosomal DNA ethnicity estimate is 45 Scotland, 43 England, Northwest Europe, Ireland and Norway. That's probably a little Viking going on there, Tommy. My heritage autosomal DNA. The other one was Ancestry. Europe, 42.5. English, 41.5. North and West European. And look, Mesoamerican and Andean. So again, we're seeing that South American indigenous information come up. And there have been quite a few studies of indigenous South American people that shows up, and Sorensen did a lot of work. So some of that information is going to show up in some of these tests. I love the formatting of your answer, Tommy. That's from Mary Berryman. Make sure we upvote these babies. So Linda Body. Linda's not in here today. She's Scottish, Swedish, Denmark, Ireland, Germanic, Europe, Wales. So she's got Anglo-Saxon, English, Irish, and Viking, and Wales. I cannot wait to see my dad's big Y. It's going to tell us where the Galdings are from. It's not fun having an unusual surname. Or maybe it is fun because I'm not a Smith.
You would think it'd be easier because, there'd be Like how many different branches of Smith that are not totally related at all?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, and they're all of the Galdings are related. Everybody that can track back to the Galding. If I see a Galdin, and I used to as a kid, this is how my genealogy life was. I would travel somewhere and I would pull out the phone book. One of the first things I would do, I would pull out the phone book and look and see if there are any Galdins in that city.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't call them. I didn't go that far, but I looked to see. And now I know that they're all related.
Or you're not like the person who was, I was in a workshop once and someone said that when this person traveled, and I can't remember who it was, I think it was some DNA guru, and it was whenever they traveled, they carried a suitcase of DNA kits with them. And whenever they came across someone with the same last name that they wanted to investigate, they just gave them a free DNA kit.
I don't give away free DNA kits, but I have empty DNA kits so they could send it in and pay for it. I'm not a rich genealogist by any means. Let's see. Dieter, thank goodness. I was worried. You were so German. 74%. We're so glad. 22% Sweden and Denmark. That does not surprise me because the north of Germany and Sweden and Denmark, there was a lots of back and forth. What do I think of the archaic DNA matches tool at GEDmatch? I haven't done a lot of work with that, actually, so I'm not going to make a comment on that, Mary Sleppy. But now that you brought it up, I will go look at it harder. I don't do a lot of work with the origins estimates unless there's a specific estimate that would help in identifying family members. So if I know that there is, say, an African connection or a specific Chinese connection or an Indonesian connection or say somebody is Polynesian, I know that I'm looking for that information. So I'll go looking at that. But normally the clients that I have, other than a lot of indigenous clients, I usually work with Northwest European people and French. So it's I don't have a lot of reason to go and look into the origins estimates. Let's see. Eric Weddington did a good job. Northwestern Europe, Southern Europe. My Heritage 23andMe from Leah. There's 5 pages, folks. Let's go to the last page. I got to vote these up. I can't just scroll past them. Taking 4 autosomal DNA tests. And you know that you can look at your autosomal results, but when we were looking at my dad's results, this is not based on his autosomal results. This is based on his Y DNA. So his Y DNA at this point is English and Irish mainly, then English, a little bit of Scots, Germany, and the US. But if I have done, let me see if I can find him. U106 is one of his estimated predicted haplogroups. You can find that haplogroup predictor here as well at MyYDNA. So I know his predicted haplogroup, and one thing is U106, which shows way more English, more American, German, Scottish, and I don't know what these 2 are. Oh, wait, that's United Kingdom specifically, and then a little bit of Sweden, I guess. Or no, yeah, Sweden. Or the other one that he comes up as a probability of is 152. And that one comes up with way more English and German. So this is a very Anglo-Saxon haplogroup. And I already know that. This haplogroup actually probably originates in Prussia, just from the research that I've done on this Y-DNA. So it's fascinating. Go through, like your friends, enjoy Joe's wonderful comic that she posted, and make sure you go through and upvote these people. Have a great, great day. I'm going to shut down and let Greg take over now. Not too bad, Greg. I told you I was going to take over the whole live stream, and I didn't.
That's
It
okay.
was informational. Everybody loved it.
Very good. Very impressive. Yeah.
Oh, Greg is sharing his now.
I was like, wait, I thought I shut all my stuff down.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, no, this is mine because so the profile of the week is women leaders. So if you to make, I didn't put together a computer game or anything else, but if you want to, take 30 seconds and write down as many women leaders, national leaders that you can think of who might have been in our WikiTree profiles of the week, see how many you can guess. That's assuming you haven't actually already read them and know who they are. But anyways, but in the meanwhile, to go off what you were saying, Matt, this is my ethnicity estimate, and I share the same top level Y-DNA haplogroup as your dad, M269, and U106, and I don't know about the 152 if I'm in that sub branch.
So you've done the predictions at MitoY-DNA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very similar. And I actually have a fourth cousin who also did a full Y, the big Y test as well. So we actually share the same final SNP or terminal SNP. So we're a branch. We actually have a branch on the bottom.
And that's you've done a full 700?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's very cool. So that one has two people in it, and they're fully Irish because we both come from the same Irish.
Have you put your terminal SNP into the MitoY
Yes.
and done it? Let's see it.
Oh, you want to see? Okay. Okay. Let me just. Okay. Well,
it's gonna be a DNA day. DNA day.
It's DNA day.
Well, I want to see what his terminal SNP says about his origins.
Okay, let me just go there. No, I want to go to I'm go to tools.
We should be playing some.
Can you get my dad to take a Y-DNA test?
You can't take a Y-DNA test.
Oh, my dad. I meant I had to get my dad to take, not me. My dad.
Y-DNA. There we go. Okay, so. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep. Hit that Explorer button. Oh.
Okay, wait a second.
We lost it.
Well, no, I was trying to find the other screen.
No, click on the Explorer button.
Yeah, okay, no. Explorer.
There you go.
Loading data.
Who?
Oh, my word.
Look at that.
Look at that.
See, the two of us, me and my fourth cousin.
You are so Irish.
So Irish. Well, that's only because we both entered that information, the same person from Ireland. But if I back it up.
Go up to,
then,
okay, go back, go up to, oh, you can't get to that.
So right. See, as I go back further and further, it adds more combinations, right?
No, but yeah.
And if I go back as far as where's this I don't see that. Well, let's go back to there, for example.
Nice.
Right? See, there's lots of combinations.
Nice. Well, and you can also you can actually use the SNP tracker and look at the locations in the SNP tracker. So go to the
right here.
Yep. Well, no, not that, but the next one.
Oh, okay.
So just go to SNP age. There you go. Scroll down.
Okay.
Woo.
There we go.
Yeah. So as other people test, like I said, this automatically updates from FTDNA stuff. So as people test, you might have another person who says, "Hey, I'm from Scotland," and so then your origins estimate is going to change from purely Scottish to half Scottish, half Irish. So you might
that would be cool because we think that the Douglas originally came from Scotland.
Yep.
But we haven't got any paper trail yet to prove that, but it makes sense with the name Douglas, doesn't it?
Well, but the RM269, and you go through what I'm looking, make your screen size just a bit bigger.
Oh, sure, right.
All right, so I'm looking at your SNPs. Scroll up slowly.
Okay.
Keep going. DF96 is a big stop. Hold on just a second. So DF96 is a big stop. And that was 2200 BCE. But notice the German, English,
look at that.
Irish. So you might have some Anglo-Saxons going on in your stuff too, because I see more people reporting Germany up above as well. So go on, scroll back up, scroll on up again. Zed. Oh, Zed. So
Here?
I don't see it.
Dead people, it
There's
looks like.
some of the some of the RZs are Viking.
Ooh.
But I
Well,
don't see that.
Right.
I don't see that in there. There's RU106. Do you know where RU106 was when it mutated? Where its origins is?
No.
Doggerland. Do you know where
Doggerland.
Doggerland is? It's
Is
the
that
land
Norway?
between
No.
France, England. It's where the North Sea is
North
there.
Sea?
So
Oh.
if you were to, it was all dry at that point.
Oh.
Yeah. How cool.
Very
All right.
cool.
From the
So we've had
sea.
too much fun with this. I love looking at mitochondrial DNA stuff, so that's great.
The Vikings, well, that might explain my Sweden and Norway, because I have no...
Yes, and that's not unusual because the Viking incursions into Scotland and Ireland and England really gave a lot of influence to that. And then the Anglo-Saxon farmers, and they weren't really conquerors, they don't think, but the Anglo-Saxons decided to come over and settle. And so there was German coming in and stuff. So fascinating. I could go on and on. Okay, now I really did take up half the live cast. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Well, it's only fair since I often do that. So, but anyways, here we are.
Blow your screen up, man.
I am going to. There we go. Yeah, March 8th was International Women's Day. And so the profiles of the week are all about international women, women leaders specifically. So the main profile of the week was Margaret Thatcher, Margaret Hilda, the Iron Lady, Thatcher, born Roberts, actually, Margaret Hilda Roberts. And she was born in Grantham. Isn't that the place, the Earl of Grantham? Isn't that from Downton Abbey?
Yes.
Very cool, I thought.
But the guy, the Carnival, is the guy who actually lives in the castle that was where it was filmed.
Right.
Or Connaughton. He was one of the guys who helped discover King Tut.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's funny, Aaron. Aaron said Doggerland is at the Atlantis of the North Sea.
The Atlantis of the North Sea. Very cool. Very cool. So anyway, she had a very, very long and storied history. First female prime minister of Britain and the longest serving prime minister for over 150 years. Born as Margaret Hilda Roberts. We talked about that. Her father was the mayor of Grantham, so politics was obviously in her blood. She joined the Conservative Association in 1948. So she was doing this for a long time. Nicknamed the Iron Lady, won 3 successive general elections. That's pretty impressive for any politician anywhere winning 3 elections in a row, because often you become unpopular shortly after the first one is over. So very impressive. The leader from 1979 to 1990. The very well done profile that goes through a lot of different things. So I will leave you to peruse that.
You're 28 degrees from Margaret Thatcher, Greg.
Ooh, thank you.
What about you? Sarah?
Let's see. Look, keep going, Greg.
Okay. So we have 11 first ladies to get through. So I'm going to not spend as long as I often do, but I will try and give them each a little bit of a spotlight. So our next one is Magdalena Andersson from Sweden. She was a politician for the Swedish Social Democratic Party, grew in Uppsala and lived there. They mentioned the source where they found out she joined the Social Democratic Party when she was in her late teens. In 1992, she became a civilekonom after studies at Stockholm University. And since the 30th of November, 2021, just recently, she's become the Prime Minister of Sweden. Upon her accession, she becomes the country's first female prime minister. That's a theme we will hear a lot about this morning. Before she became prime minister, though, she was Sweden's Minister of Finance and also a member of the Swedish Riksdag since 2014. So, congratulations, Magdalena. Moving on to Jacinda Ardern. And she is notable. And she's the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Before she was Prime Minister, she was the leader of the opposition. New Zealand politicians, Prime Minister of New Zealand, leader of the Labour Party since August 1st, 2017, and first elected to Parliament as a list MP in the 2008 general election, and has been the MP for Mount Albert since the 8th of March, 2017. And she, most notably in the news, she's the one who led New Zealand through, navigated through the whole pandemic. And they had, so congrats to her for that.
She's a pretty young leader too.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Well, she was born in the 1980s, so yeah.
That's a youngster. Listen to the old lady Sarah saying, "Oh, she's so young."
Well, she's older than me, but like if you think about how the ages of other political leaders there.
Yeah. And she's made quite a splash on how she handled the pandemic too. She did a really good job.
Well, I mean, at one point, New Zealand had very little.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fairly drastic what they did to keep them safe, but they had very little infections at one point, right? So, Kim Campbell, our Canadian contribution to the theme. She also was the first female prime minister, first Canadian woman to serve as prime minister in Canada. Now, a bit of a distinction between her and some of the others. She was never elected as prime minister. She became prime minister because the current prime minister, Brian Mulroney, retired, and then she got the gig. It was kind of a bum gift though in the end, because he had done his gig, and the Conservatives have been in power for a number of years, and so at that point, people were ready for a change. So he hands it over to her, and then, as most people would predict, just because people wanted a change, the Conservative Party lost the next election, and so she was only prime minister for a short period of time. But I would say it wasn't her fault. That's what I would say. But
she's my closest connection, and I'm actually 23rd cousins to her too. We're 23rd.
Very cool. Very cool. I forgot to look at which ones I was actually related to this time, whether I'm cousin or not. If she had any French background, chances are I'm a distant cousin somehow. But she practiced law, went on to her interesting. I noticed she's a companion of the Order of Canada, member of the Order of British Columbia, honorary degrees from a number of universities. So nice that we have a Canadian prime minister, female prime minister. Moving on, Edith Campion-Cresson is a French politician, the first and so far the only woman to have held the office of Prime Minister of France. She was appointed by President François Mitterrand on the 15th of May, 1991, and left office in April of 92. Short and sweet biography. I've lost the screen that has your picture, so I can't see if you're reacting or saying.
I think everybody's asleep.
At you.
Gladys Adams Walters, Elphick, MBE, member of the British Empire, born in Wright Court, Adelaide, South Australia. She's the daughter of John Herbert Walters, which apparently has been confirmed by, they give a reference right there, who was a gas meter inspector, and Gertrude Adams, but they haven't added him yet. They haven't created a profile for him yet in WikiTree. Her maternal great-grandmother was Cudnarto. Like, that's actually the name of the person. I clicked on that to see the link. They just put the WikiTree ID, not the actual name. Cudnarto, who was Aboriginal woman of the Padnandi, of the Kaurna Nation, an Indigenous Australian. And that piece of information has probably was important to her, because she then became she joined the Aborigines Advancement League of South Australia, and that cause fueled her political activities from then on. She was a founding member and president of the Council of Aboriginal Women of South Australia, worked for the rights to raise the status of Indigenous people in the community, and a member of the South Australian Aboriginal Affairs Board. And she was appointed the MBE in 1971. Advocated for adult education courses for Aborigines in the 1960s. And she died in 1988, but in 2003, the Aboriginal Women's Group advising the International Women's Day Committee presented the inaugural Gladys Elphick Award. So there's an award in her name now too. So that's very impressive. Julia Gillard, daughter of John Gillard, and she was the 27th Prime Minister of Australia from 2010 to 2013.
And then Kevin Rudd preceded her and succeeded her.
Yes, that's exactly right. So if you read through, so she was originally born in Wales, which doesn't say, because she's still living, some of those details are not up in the data up top, but they are included in the biography. She was born in Wales, and then her family moved to South Australia in 1966 on the Assisted Passage Migration Scheme. Sounds like a cool scheme, I guess. Colloquially known in Australia as the 10-pound POMs, due to the payment of £10 in the processing fees to emigrate to Australia. So I read that earlier, and that explains the 10-pound part, but what's the POMs? What's that short for? Like, not pomegranates.
Yeah.
Pom-poms?
Pom-poms. I don't know. I can't think of what the word would be that POMs would be a short form for.
A colloquial term used in Australia and New Zealand to describe British citizens who migrated to Australia and New Zealand after the Second World War. Assisted Passage Migration Scheme. So maybe POM is a part of that.
Kylie says it means English people. POMs means English people.
Okay, there you go.
Is it sort of like
Greg?
Like Yanks for, as a colloquialism for Americans? Maybe. Okay, POMs. Okay, there we go. She joined a law firm, was elected to the House. So the profile goes into lots of description about the politics going back and forth. She took over from this one guy, and then there was a couple. Sounds like she encountered sexist remarks and other things that she had to deal with at the time, and there were some challenges to her leadership, which she won until she lost. Like she won a couple of the challenges to her leadership, and then there was another challenge by this predecessor, Kevin Rudd, who did win, and that's when she ended that. But after she left politics, then she got a whole bunch of career acknowledgements and awards and things. So I say good for her. So that's Julia. Alexandrina Victoria Hanover, Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, Empress of India, and relative of many. Just look at this list.
That's a lot of, I don't know if it's just very long names or.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, look at, I'll hover there. That's one name. Takes over a line, 2 lines. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one.
So probably about 8 kids.
Okay.
Maybe
Let's
9.
see. Have we got one? There's one that fits only on 1 line. Doesn't roll over to 2 lines. Wow. Impressive. But anyways, I really love when the profiles do this sort of thing. So you can flip back and forth to see, who was before and then who was after, in terms of like the kings and queens and prime ministers, that sort of thing. I always find that a very cool thing. So William IV was her uncle, and the king before him was another brother of his, so another uncle of Queen Victoria, George III, and then George IV, one of the Georges, and then the previous one was another George, which was her grandfather. So her father was never the king. Her father died between when his father died and Queen Victoria became queen. So
Fascinating.
I thought it was fascinating.
Empress of India.
What's Empress of India?
Yeah, we've got it. Judy Stutt says POMS is an acronym standing for Prisoners of Mother England.
Wow.
Hey, Jelaine.
Oh, it's snowing in DC.
Okay. So, anyways, Queen Victoria, there's lots written about her and a very good profile. But I will move on to the next person, Angela Merkel.
You're a minute into Sarah's time now.
Oh no! Okay. Well, I've just got two more after this. Angela Merkel from Germany. Angela Dorothea Merkel.
She's the Bundeskanzler of the
Bundeskanzler.
Bundeskanzler.
I tried.
Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Yeah.
Bundesrepublik.
So from 2005 to 2021. So that's a nice long leadership there, and then she Olaf took over in 2021. I won't read in the German. I will skip down to
Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel ist eine deutsche Politikerin. Sie war Bundeskanzlerin.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I can say the words, but Chancellor of Germany from 22nd of November 2005 to the 8th of December. Born in Hamburg, oldest child of a Lutheran pastor and a teacher for Latin and English. And then it goes through excellent pupil, physics and Russian. She was best in her class. Very cool. She wins the countrywide Russian Olympiad. Isn't that neat? Then it goes into details about the political career and wir schaffen das. Wir schaffen das. We sleep that? No. Schlafen.
No,
what is that?
Schlafen.
Yeah, that's schlafen, right. I'm not sure. Someone in the chat will know what that translates to, or you will look it up while I go on to the next person. Mary Bork Robinson.
We will make it.
We will make it. That makes sense.
There's Irish.
Irish.
Look,
Prime
look, John
President.
Tyner.
What's that?
John Tyner says, "Don't forget about us." He didn't want me to cut you off and not be able to.
Oh, I see. Of course. Well, we couldn't leave without talking about Mary Robinson, the President of Ireland, from 1990 to 1997. And then that wasn't good enough. She then became the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, 1997 to 2002. A very important and probably not a fun job, I would think. I would think that would be a very stressful job.
Yes.
But a very important one. Born in May 1944 in County Mayo, Republic of Ireland. And her parents, Dr. Aubrey Burke of County Mayo and Dr. Tessa O'Donnell Burke of Cardignach, Inishowen, both medical doctors. She was the surprise winner of the election for the presidency of the Republic of Ireland. Isn't that interesting? So as a president, she had a 93% approval rating. That is almost unheard of, really. She resigned from the presidency in 1997 to become the United Nations High Commissioner. Very impressive. And the last one is Maria Theresa Walburga Amalia Christina Habsburg von Österreich, who in 1717 was actually the leader of part of the Habsburg dominions and the last of the House of Habsburg. So she ruled a bunch of Europe for 40 years, which is unheard of in that day and age. sovereign of Austria, Hungary, Croatia, Bohemia, Transylvania, Mantua, Milan, Lodomeria, and Galicia, the Austrian Netherlands, the Austrian Netherlands, including Luxembourg and Parma. And by marriage, she was the Duchess of Lorraine, Grand Duchess of Tuscany, and the Holy Roman Empress.
Very cool.
Pretty cool, eh?
Yay, Greg.
Yes.
Sarah, smile.
Does Sarah want us to talk? Okay.
We just show the womanly photos. Our photo of the week theme is women as well. So let's go ahead and get on with it. I should have been more prepared in showing my screen already.
You had so much time to prepare too.
I know.
Okay. Did you?
Poor Greg.
I've lost the. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Whew. So women. We only have. So we have 11 photos on here, and then we'll look at the G2G post to see if anybody added some extra stories or extra photos that they didn't post here. So we have Vera and Alice. And they're
cute.
Looks like they're. Oh, it looks like they're in a cemetery. Probably. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
That's a great picture for a genealogy site.
That was a good one. We have Eleanor and Audrey Nelson in 1946 in Oklahoma by Alexis Nelson.
Alexis has good great pictures.
Joshua Adeline Gregory Islesman and Possible Sisters or Cousins by Janine. I don't know if I said that correctly, pronounced that correctly.
You did a great job.
I try my best. Myrna with Pat.
Nice.
Mary Elizabeth McLean and Sisters in 1910 in Nebraska.
Wow. Boy, talk about family resemblance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is cool. I like these. Look at her. She just did a whole bunch of different poses. Hold on. It's taking a bit to load.
Did they have photo booths back then?
Look at her. She has like a little phone and an American flag. And then a little hat.
Suffragettes. How fun.
That's a little cat.
Oh, that's cute. Like the photographer had different little things for them.
Little props. That is fun.
What is the description of that?
Does it say anything? A photo album of my great aunt Frances Pritchard.
That's nice.
From 1910 in Canada, New Brunswick. So we have a 5-generation photo of Willoughby women.
Wow.
Look at that one. 1940 in Kentucky. Look, they're doing homework. Mom is helping. Checking the homework. In New Jersey. That's a good photo. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. Red Cross Nurse Volunteers.
Nice.
Pennsylvania, Plymouth. No, they're doing some kind of parade or something. That's what it looks like. Four generations of women. I could almost say the two on the far end could almost be sisters, maybe.
But it'd be mother and daughter.
Daughter, mother,
grandmother,
great-grandmother.
Nice.
I like seeing generational photos. They're always so cool. Okay, now we're going to look, see if the G2G post has anything extra. There's 14 answers, so probably.
That's sweet.
I saw that one. Saw that one too. Oh, we didn't see this one. So here's a picture of my grandmother Hattie and her sister Laura. On the back, someone wrote, "Can I borrow your clothesline?" It took me a while to see why. Oh, do you see a little kid in the background?
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'll open it up so we can.
Oh.
Stealing the clothes.
Stealing the clothes off the clothesline.
Oh, that's funny. Saw that one. Saw that one too. Let's see. Oh, this one was a fun one. It's from a little photo album. Features 2 family members with no indication as to who they were. So she doesn't know who they were, but it was in a photo album belonging to Frances Pritchard. So we don't know who these ladies are.
It seems like you'd be able to work that out by the dates and kind of figure out, looking at the photos, the age. There are people that do that. Like, lots of comments on that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because of the great photo set. Yeah, they could be her friends or cousins. So, yeah, someone says they're likely her cousins.
Yeah, I noticed that about the American flag, and this is done in
Canada.
Canada. Oh, Canada. That's a good one.
That's the 5-generation one.
Yeah.
But in 1910, we didn't have the maple leaf flag.
In that photo. Look!
Horses!
Horses! Oh, and a lady riding side saddle. Oh, no, 2 ladies riding side saddle.
I wonder if, I don't know if that's a guy and gentleman in the back. We can't see. So
riding side saddle is not easy.
Yeah, so this says my great-grandmother, Alma Lindstrom. She was one of 12 siblings, and all of them were raised to be good with horses. And at that course of time, the woman rode side saddle. So it was in North Dakota. We didn't see this one either. Let's see. It says, I'm sure if you look up indomitable in a dictionary, there will be a picture of her next to the definition. That's a good photo of her. Oh, this is also one we didn't see. Doesn't really have anything on it, but...
Second great-grandmother.
We didn't see that one.
The oldest photo that I own, it shows my paternal grandmother's mother. Shortly before her wedding, behind her is her mother.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
You can definitely see the resemblance. They almost look like the same age almost, too.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like, I guess because of the photo, she kind of looks bald, but it's just the aging or just how they wore their hair. Well, this is at a wedding, so I guess they had a wedding at a church and they were standing in the cemetery.
Here I got all excited that they were genealogists. Getting dressed up to go have a picnic.
In the cemetery?
In the cemetery. Do people picnic in your Catholic cemetery, your church cemetery?
Not that I know of.
Give me the address, Maria, and I will come and do that.
Okay, yeah. We actually had a murder in the cemetery 20 years ago. Yeah. I know.
Scandal.
I have, let me get my screen up, the this week, if you have any issues related to the outage from last night, if you aren't aware, they shut down things from 11 p.m. for a while to do some server upgrades. So if you're having any problems, answer that G2G post. There's stuff about new categorization, the way to get requests for those for help. And the 2022 WikiTree Challenge number 6, Jimmy Fadden from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Remember, I told you she was down at a concert last weekend.
Right.
So.
Oh, that was it?
And apparently, Sarah needs to find her father. Sarah? Oh. No, it's not this Sarah. It's somebody else.
A different Sarah.
Dad?
Oh, look. Look at that.
Hey, that's us.
That's us.
Hey, it's us.
And I do have a shameless plug. I've got a talk coming up on one day this week, the 18th, our online
Friday.
digital footprint, genealogy in the digital age. If you want to learn more about it, go to my WikiTree.
If you
My
need something to do
Facebook-
after St. Patty's Day.
Yes.
The day
Once your
after.
hangover gets done. Check out my Facebook page to grab that information.
Excellent.
Like, unless anybody has any questions, it is time for us to TTFN.
Mhm.
Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta for now. Ta-ta.
Hello.
Oh,
Oh,
Dad's
let's
playing
see
golf.
if we can coordinate this.
Happy
the-
March break to people from Ontario.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1.